Good evening and welcome to the July edition of the Town of Kent Zoning Board of Appeals. Before we begin, please join me in rising and pledging allegiance to the flag of our country. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, first item on the agenda this evening is that of Susan Tasafas, 306 Clarkson Court. That was a holdover from last month.
Good evening, members of the board.
Good evening.
Joel Grimmer, the architect. This is Susan, who's the owner of the property. And I'll be brief because you have such a long agenda.
We'll be brief too.
As long as you make the right decision, that's fine. No, but seriously, first of all, I want to correct something that happened at the first meeting. If you recall, there was a young lady who objected, saying that the water from this property was coming onto her property. After the meeting, we went out in the lobby, and I got the map showing all the houses and the properties around, and discovered that she was across the street at a much higher elevation. So obviously she's not back here again. And basically, I think she was the only one that had any questions regarding our project, and I don't see anybody here tonight. But I'd like to have Susan just give some history as to her relationship to the town and to the area. So, and then I will go through the other action.
Now, last month you said you were going to have the receipts.
My secretary brought them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's all. That was done like a few days after the meeting.
Okay. Susan, do you have them now over there?
I know.
No. Okay. You dropped them off?
Yes.
Okay.
My secretary dropped her off with the deal.
Okay.
No rejection. No.
Cool. Did you sign in?
And while she was signing in, we got, as I said, we got the receipts that people received what we had sent out. And as far as I know, and Vera can maybe attest to the fact that none of the neighbors came to with any objections.
Well, technically, they should have brought before the board so we could have an opportunity to review them.
Okay,
You know, but be that as it may, I trust Vera.
you do. Okay, so do I.
A little.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I just would like to preface by the fact that my grandfather was a police officer in New York City for 35 years. And he came to Lake Carmel and built 2 properties with his best friend across the lake. I heard all my life, my parents, my mom, talking about how...
Can you speak into the mic, please? I'm sorry.
Yes. I heard all my life about my mom, you know, how much they would enjoy Lake Carmel and that they would swim to each other's houses. And, you know, so when my parents moved here, they had a business, they owned a business. My grandparents opened up a restaurant in Carmel, actually it was Ludingtonville on Route 52, and we lived on Crosby Road in Carmel. And we lived there for probably 15 years. And I would come here to the lake all the time with my mom and my brothers and sisters. And so I had very many happy memories. So now fast forward, I got married, had kids. I moved down toward Long Island out on the South Shore. And I still came up many times. So in 2020, when COVID was going on, I started to look for property, and I looked for something, you know, for my kids so that I could be able to get a little piece of property. And we would be able to get the beach passes and be able to use the lake. And so I saw a piece of property, and I purchased it, and it was like $8,000 or something like that. And after I purchased it, which was like in November, I had gone down to the building inspector, and I had asked him, I said, you know, what do I have to do to get, you know, to put something on this lot? And he goes, it's not a buildable lot. I go, what do you mean it's not a buildable lot? He goes, you have to apply for a variance, and you have to get a variance. And so, okay, so I said I would do that, and I had a number of conversations with him and back and forth for over a 2 or 3 year period of time. And then when I was told that, I said, okay, I'll put it in for a variance. So I got the property, which cost me $2,000 to get it surveyed. So I surveyed the property. So I did not know when I bought the property that the property was not a buildable, okay? I did not have any idea that I couldn't put up a shed. And now I have invested interest of $8,000, and now another $2,000, and now another couple of thousand with having an architect and whatever other fees that I have for here. So all I want is someplace to put my paddle boards and my rowboat, blow up, you know, little toys, so that when I come here, I can just, you know, it makes it easier for me and for my family. I picked a building that was very secure and safe and sound and will be on a foundation and will look like the woods. It will look just like the woods on 3 sides. It just has glass on one side, which will be facing the lake. That's it. And that's all I want, is just to be able to come up and be able to just have my water toys and have a place to keep them, so that they're not going to be in the open and look ugly. And I have, you know, respect for the lake and for, you know, the community. And, you know, I just would love to have this variance.
Okay, thank you.
Now I'd like to go through some of the reasoning with regard to use variances. I think the first thing I think we should mention.
Switch places with you.
This area here in purple, this is the lot itself. And as Bill Walters rightly said, because of the size of it and because of the surrounding houses, which have septics and wells, that there's just no way you can get a septic or well with the proper distances and put a house on it. So therefore, the only thing that you can do is, what we're trying to do is to put a shed here. Also, we went around the particular neighborhood here and discovered that there are at least two other pieces of property which have a shed but no house, one on Clarkson Road and one on Waikakill Road. So there is a precedent that apparently a shed has been put in recent times on some of these pieces of property. But to go through the list itself, okay. One, the alleged hardship relating to the property in question is unique and does not apply to a substantial portion of the district or the neighborhood. Well, it is, because it's not a buildable lot for a residence with a septic and a well on it. That the requested use variance, if granted, will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. And obviously, since the other two, one's on Clarkson, one on Waikakill Road, are sheds with no house. It's not unique, number one. And number two, I think all of you have been to the property, and it's very heavily with woods, with ground cover and so on and so forth. And I think that if allowed to be put on there, Susan will actually improve the property. Right now, it's unfortunately not the most pristine property in the town of Kent. And I think once it's cleared out and grass is put in and so on and so forth, it'll be a plus to the neighborhood instead of something negative, which it is right now. And continuing on the different reasoning for that the alleged hardship has not been self-created. Well, it's not. It was created because the people all around this piece of property bought up property, got permits, built houses, and this was what was left. Okay, so it's a piece of property that if Susan didn't buy it, would probably remain, a place where it's overgrown and not very pleasant to look at. There are some beautiful homes around this, which are maintained very well, and this is, I think, something that will be a plus for the neighborhood. Now, again, this lot was created not by Susan and not by the building, by the town of Kent, but by the people around us. This subdivision goes back to the 1930s, if I'm not mistaken. And these lots were bought up, and the lots around her property were bought up, and they got their proper permits, and they were able to build on them. But unfortunately, this is what was left, a piece of property that, because of the surrounding area and the location of the septics and the wells on the adjacent properties, makes this one impossible. So it's an impossible situation. It's not something that was self-created. It was created because of all the properties around that were built upon and had permits, proper permits and everything, and this piece of property was left, and obviously, because of surrounding wells and septics, there's just no way that you can get and have built a house on it. So what's left? What's left is something that would be, I think you took a look at this last time, but it's just a simple, very simple building, and something that will just be able to take some of the equipment that Susan wants to be able to use the property and have access to the lake. So I don't think it's a very difficult situation. It's not something that is going to be a detriment to the neighborhood. I think it'll be something positive because, again, if you look at if you walk the site, it is basically filled with lots of ground cover, and it's just unsightly. And I think the people in the neighborhood, and actually the two lots that we found that have sheds with no main house or anything like that. So there is a precedent. It's in the neighborhood, but again, I think in addition to the criteria, I think it's up to you to see, to make sure when a variance is granted that it improves the property, not just the opposite. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you. Thank you both. I agree that on face value, at least in your opinion, it's a very simple slam dunk. It's just going to be a shed in the woods. However, you understand the requirements for a use variance.
Absolutely.
Okay, and number one, I'm not sure that I agree, and I believe Mr. Wells we're in agreement, that it was not a self-created hardship. I do, as far as there would not be an undesirable change to the neighborhood, I'm not sure if I agree with that too. That, again, that's an opinion-based statement. Could it be? I don't know. One guy may say yes, one guy may say no. So those are at least, the largest part of this is, I don't believe it was, I can't get by the not a self-created hardship. I just can't get by that.
But I think I've explained that. It was not self-created. It was created because of what was built around us, and that was a piece of property that was left.
If she had bought...
But she did not sell...
If your client had bought the property in 1930, I would say absolutely. But your client bought the property in 2020. In my opinion, it was incumbent on your client to do the appropriate research.
Couldn't agree with you more. But on the other hand, no matter who bought it, let's say 5 years from now, Mr. X buys the property. He's got the same situation. So we have a piece of property that's going to lay vacant, it's going to be overgrown, and you've got some beautiful homes, very, very, I think probably pretty expensive homes around that. And why should they have to look at something that is just a detriment to the neighborhood? So I think if you go to the other criteria, that will not alter the essential character of the neighborhood. Well, I think just the opposite. It will improve it, because you have these beautiful homes around, and all they're looking at is weeds and overgrown bush. And here's somebody that wants to improve the property. This is something that you should welcome, not, and it's definitely not self-created, because it was created by all the people around who bought these properties and left this property vacant.
Well, I'll leave that, but you know, you make it sound like it's, you say weeds and overgrown bush. I've been out there, I took a look at it. It's not an unsightly parcel of land.
I didn't say-
All the houses around there, every time I've gone there.
Here, talk to the microphone.
5 or 6 times a summer, usually, that's all. Everybody dumps the leaves there. So they dump the leaves on my property, okay? And they're claiming that they take care of, somebody is taking care of some lower piece of property on my survey, which they shouldn't even be on my property, and they're claiming that they're taking care of it.
Is your property signed? Is your property properly signed?
I just surveyed it, yes. Oh, it's got the survey markers still up.
No, what he's saying
Oh.
is they were signed, there's no trespassing.
No dumping? I should put signs that say no dumping, yes.
I'll open it up to the other board members for commentary.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still hung up on the self-created, and to me, well, it's not just my opinion, this is what the courts say. You know, I mean, we've only...
One vote, you're right.
Yeah, and I'm one vote, that's right. But, I mean, even assuming that the other 3 criteria are met, and I agree that there would be some benefit to the neighborhood perhaps, but even, I'll give you those 3. But it's the 4th one that I'm hung up on. And as to the 4th one, it's not just my opinion. I mean, this is what the courts have said. A hardship is considered self-imposed if the variant applicant purchased the property subject to the restrictions. So the
But I
property...
didn't know the restrictions, and when I purchased the property, I had no idea that I could not do anything with, I never heard of not being able to buy property and not be able to do anything to it. I mean, I have now garbage. I mean, might as well just tear my deed up. I have nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
That's not right. I mean, I just want something to put my paddle boards in. I mean, it's not a.
We're not kings. You know, we've only got the power given to us
Okay.
by the town code. And the town code says that we don't have the power to grant a use variance unless all 4, not 3 out of 4, all 4.
But how could it be self-created if I had no idea that it was not buildable or it was not anything? I mean, I went to build 3 times and I understood that I had to do X, Y, and Z in order to get this variance. And I've done that. I've complied with everything I needed. So now it's just like taking $15,000 or $20,000 and throwing it away. For what? Because
I am sympathetic, but, you know,
it would be.
Based on what I said, how can you say this is self-created?
How is it self-created?
because you bought it after the zoning code was in effect. The zoning code didn't come in after you bought.
It wasn't for sale until 2020. It came up for sale in 2020. And Bill, wasn't there a lot of other lots that people were complaining about that had happened also in that area? There was somebody bought a whole bunch
There
of...
were lots of smaller parcels that were being sold off, auctioned off, but we have notes on those smaller lots, and on your lot, anybody that called about your lot was told the same thing. It's not a buildable lot.
Yeah, and in fact,
That's after I bought it. That's after-
Anybody who called
after I
prior to
bought it,
buying it,
yes.
looking for information, was told that it is not a
That's correct.
buildable lot. You
That's
would
correct.
have to apply for a
You did.
variance.
You told me that from the beginning.
Okay?
yeah, and in fact, I can't put myself in your head, but I even found the original listing online. It's still there. And the original listing says you need a variance to build on it.
Oh, no. Okay, I'd like to see that.
I don't have it
Can I
with
see
me.
that? I want to see that.
Google the address. And
Oh, no, I have the lawyer that I used for the, for the closing, and I have the ad, and I got it online. I did everything online, and that word of verbiage was not online.
Okay, well, that's when I looked, I saw
I
it.
would
But
like to see
but even
that,
if it
please.
wasn't, I mean, the fact of the matter is, that's the way it's been zoned. I mean, I didn't create the zone, we didn't create the zoning.
But they did not say that in the ad, so I'm
Well-
disagreeing with you strongly on that.
If you drive 60 miles an hour down Route 52 and you say, I didn't know it was a 40-mile speed limit, the fact that you didn't know
It
doesn't
did
change
not
anything.
say that in the ad that I purchased the property. It did not say anything about it not being buildable. And I didn't even care if it was buildable. I knew I wasn't going to put a house there. I just wanted a shed for
Well-
my paddle boards. That's it.
Well,
Again, can I ask the question, why is this self-created?
Because,
Based on what I've said and what the building inspector has said.
because what the New York courts have said, this is not me, this is the New York courts. What the New York courts have said is a hardship is considered self-imposed if the variance applicant purchased the property subject to the restrictions. That's what it says.
So I have to buy this before 1930 in order
Yes.
for that? Does
Yes.
that really make sense?
It does because the town decided that they didn't want to have sheds on properties that were
But
not
I just
accessory to
mentioned
homes.
There are 2 in this neighborhood that have sheds with no houses.
I have no idea about that. I don't know if that was done illegally. I don't know why they're there.
Well, again,
So
I
they are allowed to do
respectfully,
it illegally?
respectfully
I-
disagree that this is not self-created. She bought the property, not, obviously, but how is it self-created? I can't
Well,
seem to
I
comprehend.
could read it a third time, but
No, to read it. I know what it says,
Hmm.
but I don't think it's self.
Okay.
She did not create this. The lot itself was created years and years and years ago, was built all around it, and this is what was left. And-
So the zoning code means nothing,
No,
because if you
no.
buy something and it was after the zoning code said you couldn't do something, the zoning code makes no
But
difference.
it doesn't say you can't put a shed on the property.
It does.
It says you can put a shed on a property with certain restrictions.
No, it says you can't have an accessory building. You could,
That's not-
yeah, it has got to be accessory to a main building,
Yeah, I agree
not
with
standing
that. I
alone.
agree with that, yes.
All right.
Okay, so it's not so you can't say that it's not a permitted use, it's a permitted use with conditions.
It's a
Okay?
permitted
And
use if there's a-
This particular lot is of such a size that it can't meet those conditions, but it's still a permitted use. So I
If
think
it's
you-
accessory to another
I
building.
know what you're saying, but I think in this case, in order to, make this property at least visibly pleasant, you're not violating any codes or anything. I really
Again,
feel
I mean,
that.
Regarding a use variance, we can't pick and choose.
But
What we have to, we
I
have
understand that, and
to.
I agree with you, but I don't think this is self-created. That's where we disagree.
Well, then we have a disagreement with that. Okay, any other board members?
The one thing that interests me is you're talking about 2 properties with the shed and suggesting those are predecessors, or, what's what we're looking for? Precedents, I'm sorry. That they're precedents.
Yes, I understand.
And I'd be interested in seeing those and why they exist. I mean, were they illegal? I mean, if they were precedents, even though this is a use variance, I still don't think that it permits us to rule favorably. I would like to know why these exist, and I mean, I would table this for another month. In other words, to look at those 2 properties and just think about this a little more, because I'm sympathetic to your
No, I-
situation.
I-
I
I
understand.
appreciate that.
We'd like to help you, but really, I agree with Andy. The law says, ignorance of the law is not an excuse for not adhering to it. That's just as the example said. You can't speed and say, I didn't know the speed limit. It doesn't
I'm
doesn't
saying
count.
I don't agree with the comments that this is self-created. I don't think that was self-created.
But it is even if she didn't know,
No, that-
ignorance of the law doesn't count.
I agree with that too. You're
Okay.
absolutely correct.
So, I don't know,
But if I
that
was,
would be,
if I didn't know about it, I didn't know about it, and then when I found out about it, and I was told the way that I could go about it, doing it, and getting a variance, and I followed all those steps, and I'm still now.
I think where
we're
we
just
disagree is the
not in a
self-creation.
position,
Who
we're
did
not in
you-
a position to give a variance, a use variance, I mean, we're just trying to follow the rules that we're given by you. A non-use, other types of variances can be granted if they're not going to be a problem for neighbors, if they're,
Well, look at
but
number
this is
3
not
here.
what
That's
that
exactly
case
what I
is.
said. Is this going to be a problem for any of the neighbors?
I know,
Nobody
Do you
came,
see
nobody's
any-
here.
anyone
It
coming up
doesn't
here in
just-
opposition?
So that's my point, it doesn't make any difference. So we could do it if it was that, not use
Well,
variance.
The only thing we disagree with, I don't think it's self-created. Obviously you do, and I don't think that's correct.
And
Well, I do only because that's what the courts have said. That's the only reason I'm saying that.
But I agree, you're right. self-creation is one of the criteria, but I don't think that, in this case, it's not self-created. She didn't create this situation.
Okay, who did you purchase this land from now?
On the internet?
On the
From-
internet?
No, that's my fault.
Oh, yeah, on the internet.
From a
who's
local
from-
realtor?
Oh, yeah, I have the realtor, from a realtor, yes. Uh-huh.
And is it your, you were never told that that was not a buildable lot?
Never.
Well, then your local realtor may have failed you, because that listing should have had on it that it was not a
It
buildable
definitely
lot.
should have. Yes, I agree with you. I was very shocked, and like I said, I've been 2 or 3 times, either on the phone or I've talked to Bill, and when he told me that it was, you couldn't do anything, he says you have to have 50 feet between the water and the septic, and you don't have that. And I go, okay, then what can I do? And I can just put like a little work shed, and that's what I could do, and that's when I applied for
Was this the
variance.
first property that you've owned? Just
Yes.
curious.
Oh, you mean owned?
Yeah.
No, I've had 5 houses.
You've had 5 houses.
I've lived in 5 different houses, yes.
Yeah, so you're pretty familiar with the drill of purchasing property.
If I saw a house that I would have buy that said that you couldn't build or a lot, then I would have definitely not done that. I'm not looking to be deceptive in any way. I'm just looking to bring my water toys to the
No,
lake.
I understand. I
Period.
understand.
It's so simple.
I understand and I sympathize. I really do.
So I just don't understand why, and if all the neighbors are, not here.
The problem is, we disagree with your definition of self-created and mine. And I think mine is
You can't do
correct.
anything to help me out here? I mean, I would really appreciate if I could.
Well,
just
we
get the
haven't,
variance.
we haven't even voted on the matter yet, so.
Okay.
Any other board member have any input?
No, not here.
Okay, there being none, do I have a motion to deny this application?
Unfortunately, I'm going to make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
You're in favor? Okay. Unanimous. Let the record show it's unanimous.
Yep.
Thank you. Alrighty, moving along. Next item up on the agenda, Holly Ann Willard, 20 Roslyn Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hi.
So, why don't you tell us why you're here this evening?
Okay, so I'm here because I'm requesting a 12-foot rear variance on the north part of my property. I'm trying to amend an approved pool variance prior to add a 286 square foot pool deck. I also, in addition to that, I'm requesting, which I believe I went into the office to just add it on, requesting a variance to also erect on the pool deck fence paneling, which will extend a maximum of 5 feet above the 6-foot fence threshold. This will provide additional privacy for myself as well as the neighbors along the backside.
So it'd be a total of 11 feet, you're saying, the fence?
I'm going to defer to, sorry, yep, 11?
So the privacy fencing section would be 5 feet? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, yes.
Above the existing
6 feet.
fence?
That's, yeah. Because the deck, okay, yeah.
I'm sorry, can I just clarify the numbers? You have an existing 5-foot fence, no?
Existing 6 foot.
We have an existing 6-foot
And you're putting 5-foot additional on top, is that correct?
on top of that.
Thank you for the clarification.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
I had to defer.
I appreciate the clarification.
Now, I've been out to the property, we've all been out to the property. You're talking about the section on the end?
Yeah,
Just that section?
Yep, so it would be along, because it kind of L's, so it would be like the backside, and then just a little panel over here, just to kind of create a blockage for my neighbor towards the right side of me.
Okay, I got you. Well, as you know, we've been out and we took a look at the fence, we took a look at the pool, we took a look at the proposed deck, and the construction has taken place thus far. I'll open it up to the board for any commentary.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was not able to come out this last
sorry.
weekend. I mean, I was out a couple of years ago when we were looking at this before, but...
Yes,
But from the pictures, and this is just the pictures, because again, I didn't lay eyes on it since the deck was partially constructed. It looked like the deck was very, very close to the fence. Now, I see you're looking for a 12-foot variance, meaning, and what you need is a 20-foot setback in the rear. So a 12-foot variance would mean you're 8 feet from the property line in the back. And at least in the pictures, I'm not sure you were 8
Yes.
feet from the property line. Are you? Is that what you're looking for?
right? Well, you can come up, you can come up with me, sorry. Just because, I'm asking him because he's better with the measuring and all of that. So the fence along the backside actually comes in already. How many feet does it come in from the property line? Isn't it
So
like
the reason
2
why
feet?
we asked for that number is because I thought the setback was 15, not 20. I apologize for that. There is 3 feet of additional property behind our fence that we keep, that we brought our fence in so we can maintain that line. So we are not directly on the line. We are 3 feet off the property line once you pass our fence.
Okay, so I think it's really not a 12-foot variance you're looking for. It's a 17-foot variance, if I
Yes.
understand what you're saying. All right, so it'd be it's got to be 20. You'd have a 17-foot variance, meaning you're 3 feet from the property line.
Yes, that would be correct. I apologize for that.
Sorry
That was-
about that, yeah. I'm always confused
I did the
with that.
calculations on it being 15 foot,
Made that
not,
correction on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, initially, that back side of the property, once we had gotten it staked, there was some discrepancy with the neighbor behind us, so just to be on the safe side, when we had the fence installed, we just wanted to play it safe. We figured we just come in off the property line.
Vera, just let the record show that was amended to a 17-foot
Yeah,
variance instead of a 12.
okay, yeah, definitely.
Anything else? Any other board members have any commentary?
I do have an additional question, and I'm not sure if my fellow board members can help me with this. Do we need to ask them to resubmit for the neighbors?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, I have my,
You have green card?
yes, I
Oh, should
apologize.
ask
I'm
them
so
first?
sorry.
Good point. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry about that. That's okay. Thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. And thank you, Bob.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask the same question, just in the sense that, it's good for your neighbors and good for you, but, so this 11 feet high, and whether, that neighbor would object to it either for, just because it's sort of a monolith in front of them, or also because of shade, it might have affect their property. So it would be interesting or helpful to hear from them that they're good with it. That would be, my concern. I mean, it's not, neighbor approval is not a criterion, but it's nice to have, in terms of, you build this thing and you didn't have permission from them, they could be upset and, Because once the variance is granted, then it's, you know, it's good for whoever buys your house too, so it's good forever. So I don't know how we answer that question.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm concerned too, because what you asked for was a 12-foot variance in the application, and I guess that's what the neighbors were told. But now that we're talking about it, I think it's really, first of all, not a 12-foot variance, it's a 17-foot variance. And second, there's also a variance for the fence to allow 11-foot, an
I
11-foot.
mean, with respect to the fence paneling, I mean,
That
that's
was
not,
suggested
that
from
was,
you
that was
guys
suggested
at the meeting.
at the initial site visit, so if that's not something that you think is
Yeah.
feasible, then I'm happy to let that go and just do regular, like a safety railing. It just was suggested that it might kind of be helpful in terms of creating that additional privacy for myself, as well as making neighbors feel more comfortable that we're not like, they're not staring at us, we're not staring at them. That's obviously not our goal. Like, we like to maintain our privacy. We want other people to feel private as well, when they're in their yard. I mean, yeah, you know, I mean, the last thing I want to do is make people feel uncomfortable. I'm always planting trees and putting up fences. Like, you know, I don't usually want to stare at anybody, nor do I really want anybody staring at me, so.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, you know, we're considering not accepting it because we were the ones that suggested.
Yeah, which I thought was very
So I'm not
helpful,
saying,
yeah.
Oh, you should put a fence now saying, no, don't put the fence. I'm just saying that, you know, it'd be nice to know, we thought it was a good idea for you and for your neighbors. That was the premise. Just want to make sure the neighbor's okay with it. You know, that they're not gonna, you know, it's, you know, again, I think it's in their interest, but I want to hear that they agree with that.
Well, they did do their due diligence. They sent out a notice, and there's no one here tonight,
Okay.
you know?
The notice, and the notice described this, the fence, the 11-foot fence.
Most recent notice you sent out described the paneling, the 5-foot extension.
I mean, if I'm being honest, it did not have that in there, the paneling aspect of things, which why, I mean, you know, to further the project along, if I had to do without that and do that, address that separately down the, I mean, I guess I would, I mean.
Well, you know, from what I've seen of the property, it's kind of, I mean, you do have an encroachment, in my opinion, from your neighbor's shed. It
Yes.
appears to be over the property line.
Big time.
Yes.
Okay. And the 5-foot, when we went up there, if you're sitting on your deck, I mean, to me, you and your neighbors are gonna be looking at each other. You know, once you're sitting there, which is why we discussed the possibility of a privacy addition there in the corner,
Right,
you know?
which me personally.
And it was proposed as a potential remedy. I mean, we discussed it, and, you know, I think it would work, personally.
Yeah.
And if somebody had an objection to us being up there, they would have came here to voice that.
Yeah, especially
So,
knowing that there wouldn't be any privacy.
Knowing that the height of the fence and knowing that there wouldn't be any privacy.
Right, I think if anything, you're right, that would have probably amped,
Well, someone
you
would
know.
have certainly been here for the deck.
Right, saying, you know,
Yeah.
well, why is this here? It's going to be high, you know, you're going to be able to look. I think that would have been, I know me, if I was on the other end receiving the notice and I had an issue, that would have been the first thing that I would have thought.
Yeah, but if you're asking for the private, which I don't have a problem with that panel. But if you're asking it to be attached to this variance, Bill, do they need to make a detailed contact with their, with the neighbors?
Mr. Chairman, that's why you are the chairman.
Yeah, just as a suggestion, I mean, you know, maybe we ought to hold it over for a month and amend your application to A, make clear that it's a 17-foot variance, not a 12-foot variance, and B, that you want to put the privacy panels up to extend the height to 11 feet. And, you know, it'll be published in the paper so the world knows, and the notice will go to your neighbors so they in particular know, and, you know,
Well,
then it's all
I'm not sure, I'm not sure I'm in favor of holding this meeting over because the neighbors had ample opportunity to come out for the proposed deck, which they're obviously gonna be seeing them. And so I think that a privacy panel, if it was added, to send a secondary notice out to the neighbors, I think I don't think it's necessary. I really don't think it's necessary.
Well, let's just back up a little bit on this story. So they got the variance for the pool. Bill, I don't know how you found out about the deck, but you found out the deck and stopped work
Correct,
so that they would get a variance for the deck as well.
right.
And when they did that, we went out to look and we noticed that, the deck is high because it's.
Right, it was ours, we wanted them to clarify if they had planned on extending the fence higher so that
Right.
the neighbors, so they couldn't see their neighbors from the deck or vice versa. Currently, the height of the existing fence is at 6 foot. If they raised
the deck
that
itself
fence
is
on the
not-
deck up, because they would have to, there was talk that in the future, they might want to extend the existing fence 2 foot to give them the privacy going all the way around.
Which they need a variance for.
Okay.
And you're trying to avoid that.
They would need a variance to raise the existing fence
Above 6 feet.
above 6 foot.
Right.
What we suggested was that the panel going up be at the same height at the 6-foot fence is now, or potentially 2 foot higher if they want to go up to 8 foot.
So it would conform
We
with
we
the-
never
with the
talked about
existing
11
fencing.
foot. 11 foot, that's almost damn the Berlin Wall for crying out loud. I
Well,
mean,
if you put a 6-foot panel on top of the deck, it would raise somewhere between 10 and 11 feet, because it's 52 inches.
The deck is, the height of the deck is off the ground is 52
The height of the deck is
inches.
matching up with the height of the pool.
Right.
So if you put a 6-foot panel up, it would reach that height, but keep in mind that the property is sloped.
It's
So
sloped, so-
the first panel would be at that height. If you did a second panel to block the neighbor behind you, it would significantly come down, because there is a major grade.
Right.
So by the time you have a second panel, now we're talking about that being below 8, but almost closer to 8 feet, because the fence runs.
Yeah, because the way,
down
our
there.
our property is severely sloped, so, as you're higher up on the property, it appears as though you're very high, but then, yeah, as you start to come down, the property kind of sinks. So even we have like fencing around the side of our yard, when you're down, it's like almost appears as though that fence is higher just because the grading of the ground is so much lower, if that makes sense. I mean,
right. but
you
if-
guys have seen,
But
so
if
yeah.
you currently have a 6-foot fence, if you were going to add a 2-foot extension to the existing fence, which would bring you to a height of 8 foot, and then your
Oh,
new-
I see what you're saying. You're suggesting that on that backside to just add a higher extension?
What I asked you was what your thoughts were about the fence in general. And you were saying down the road, you were talking about possibly extending the height of the existing fence.
On the lower section area, though.
Okay.
Yeah, but not now in the
What I
immediate.
suggested was that the panel on the deck, the new deck, be at that height that you're looking to achieve down the road.
Okay.
I don't think that's 11 foot.
No, I don't think so.
Because
Maybe-
that's adding an additional 5 foot to your existing fence. That's almost twice the height of what you got.
So you're only talking a couple of feet.
Yeah,
And you're talking about an L, a small section that
Yes.
would actually extend up, but not, it wouldn't be at 11 foot.
no, it wouldn't.
Well-
And it wouldn't be. No, you can custom.
Those panels would be sitting on the deck in lieu of railings. It would be on the deck, so in that case, it would be that height. That's what we were, that was.
That's initially what our goal, like our thought was, but if it's not feasible or it's something that the zoning board does not want us to do, we would not construct it in that
We
manner.
would just put railings and just leave it at that.
Yeah.
If that would hold over the process.
Yeah, because we're not,
We prefer to move the process along, so we would withdraw that request and just do handrails.
yeah, we just want to do whatever is best and allowed to be done. If something is not feasible or it's just not, I mean, we don't have to do that. We don't have to construct it in that manner. I also have like
I mean, you can move forward with the plans just the way they are, but if your intention is to put a blind or put an extension on there, you're gonna have to come back for another variance.
which, that's why it had seemed that day for the site visit that it was mentioned that if we had added it in and you guys were in favor of that, we could pursue it at this time, as opposed to
Well,
do it.
we said it may work, we didn't say we're in favor.
No,
The board members feel.
or suggested, like.
Yeah, but I was looking at that small section, that L section.
Yeah,
That's what and then we said, well, by the way, if you do get that variance
right,
to go above the 6-foot mark, and we're not saying how many feet above, we're just saying to go above the 6-foot mark, then in the future, you wouldn't have to come back here for another variance,
right.
But to simplify matters, you can just go ahead with the way it is.
With just the regular railings.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, does that allow us to put the panel on the side, or no, that still is a no-go? You would do no paneling, it would just be the regular, I want to make sure we don't get into trouble, that's all,
Again, I think what the thought here was the panels on the L on the deck would not extend much higher than your existing fence.
Okay,
What we asked you is if you had plans down the road to extend the height of the existing fence, and your answer was maybe down the road. That's the case, then extend the panels on this deck to that new height. But I don't believe that new height is at 11 foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, 11 foot is like, the height of that. I mean, that's
taller than that
pretty
wall.
high.
I mean, can I show, I had a picture in my phone of what I was trying to do, can I present
Sure,
it to you, just so you get an idea? I mean, I'm so sorry.
All we were suggesting is that whatever you're going to do, put it on this variance to get it done one time.
Yeah.
Either that, it would stop you from coming back multiple times for multiple variances.
Of course. We certainly appreciate, even just talking to us about it,
Right.
because it would have been a situation where we may have done that and then been in trouble, which we're not looking to do. This is kind of like, it's an inspo pick, like what I initially was thinking about doing along the back side, just to create that additional privacy
Right.
for the neighbors and ourselves,
Right.
in lieu of just regular safety hand railings. Like, we can do just regular safety hand railings too, with, the lockable gate, which we were planning.
I mean, I think that's attractive, I just am concerned that, it's awfully high if we're talking about 11 feet.
What do you think of that?
Well, I don't think.
So this is 52 inches to the top of the pool, is that what it is? Or at least to where the deck is?
Where the decking would be.
Where the decking is
It
52
depends where
inches.
you stand. If you're standing.
So that's 4
If you're
feet, and
standing
then this
on
is
one
another
side of it,
5
it's
feet.
only a foot.
So it's more
to
like
the
9
shed. If you
feet.
stand on the other
More like
side,
9
it's
feet.
almost 5.
Because it's slow.
Because the property is the
Right.
property's on such a hill.
It is, it's very
It
slow.
it really depends on where you stand. If you stand next to the shed, you're at ground level. You stand on the other side of the pool, you're 5 feet. So,
Yeah, you're
so
like
the
some
11
town.
foot
the finish with
is kind of I don't know what
Where
the
you
rule
measure
is
from.
for starting the measurement.
From the ground.
From the
So,
ground.
so if you were putting a panel on your deck, it would be at the 6-foot mark, which is at the same height as where the fence currently is. Okay? All we suggest was that you put up this privacy wall in that L section, that small section of the deck, that the fence would block that. But coming up to the existing height, maybe a foot or two higher.
Be about 3 feet in the corner.
What,
Yes.
right, we're talking just the corner of the deck.
Okay.
What's the building have to be above the deck?
Where the
3
shed
feet?
is, because that.
What's the rule?
They need, well, about 42 inches that they need above the deck, because it's gonna act as a railing. Right. But if you were going to request, again, the additional height, this was the time to add those additional heights to those few panels.
Yeah, that's what it's
Right.
You would only wind up being 3 panels.
Right, but they wouldn't be at 11 foot.
And then one,
Well, just the first one.
They wouldn't, they wouldn't be at 11 foot from the ground.
The deck is 5 feet. You put a 6 panel on top.
you sure you're adding it the right way, Mike?
Well, from
Well, look, let's make this simple. Let's proceed with the application as it is, and then if you decide you want to increase the height of the fence, you'll have to come back for an additional variance.
That's the one they would just pop off the railings and then they
Bill,
would just kind of
do
erect
you
it.
need
I think it's much safer because, you know, the people, your neighbors have seen and didn't show up
Sorry?
Could you just
for
pass
what
it
we
back down, please?
proposed with the deck.
Ted,
And they haven't seen necessarily, I don't know that they understand the wall concept. So maybe just do it separately.
I think it'll be a lot cleaner like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, okay, whatever, I mean, like I said, whatever you guys think, because, you know, you guys know what you're doing, and it's, you know, at this point, yeah, I mean, because it was really just over here, this section, and then just kind of coming along the back here, 2 panels. So, but, again, we could do it separately.
Okay, so with that in mind, we have the application. Based upon the original submission by the applicant, do we have any other comments relative to this?
So the application is now 17 feet, not 12 feet, is that correct?
17-foot variance?
17-foot variance, it'll be 3 feet
Yeah,
from the property.
correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And nothing to do with the panel or the fence,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
As is.
Nothing to do with the panel or fence,
Okay.
just a 17-foot variance request original.
Okay.
Okay. With that in mind, do I have a motion to approve this application?
I make the motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
You can follow up with the bill, not tonight, but with the appropriate department. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, I appreciate your time.
Have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a set of minutes to approve from the June meeting. I'm assuming everyone had an opportunity to review them. With that in mind, do I have a motion to approve the June minutes?
Before you make the motion, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, just a question. Vera, I want to make sure I heard you earlier. These were the corrections that were suggested, is that correct? Yeah. They're up to date at this point? Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Thank you for that. No further questions.
Wait, do I have a motion to approve the June minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is there any other business before the board? Is there any other business before the board? Is there any other business before the board? There being none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I will second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night. See you in July.
Good night.
See you in August, rather.